everybody, welcome back, and today, I'm angry. Regulation H already makes me unbelievably angry, and you know, maybe I'm just an angry individual. Maybe I put too much of my life into this child's video game that I make content about, but something about Regulation H, if I lose a game and I feel like I should have won, absolutely just throws me over the deep end, and I'm just trying to understand why. So here we are. This is my therapy for myself. Maybe it'll be therapy for you too. Before we get started, I want you to go down to the comments and tell me one thing about Regulation H that makes you angry before, you know, I start talking about anything. And then at the end, we can go back and we can see what we had in common. I'll give you a second. Go ahead. I'll wait. All right. Did you get it? Good. Let's start with the thing that frustrates me the most. You see, Regulation H, if you don't know, it's supposed to be a lower power format. In a lot of ways it is. If you don't know, basically you're not allowed to use any of legendary Pokemon. You're not allowed to use any Paradox Pokemon. You're not allowed to use any mythical Pokemon. Nothing like that. Just every Pokemon in the deck, so long as they are not legendary, mythical, or a Paradox Pokemon, which is really cool. It's really nice that they give us this format. It's a really fun format. It's been a fan format for a little while. But everything about this format feels like it was specifically designed to give me hope and then tear it away. Because the power creep in this generation is so big that even the non-legendary Pokemon that they gave us this generation are super strong. And without the legendary Pokemon that we had, they're even stronger. So, in no particular order, let's go through all of these Pokemon that make me extremely frustrated and beat the crap out of my cloth team that I really just want to use and have fun with. Alright, let's talk about Hisuian Typhlosion, and kind of like Sun in general, okay? Hisuian Typhlosion is a relatively fast Pokemon that learns Eruption, has a relatively high special attack stat, and on top of all of that, it's Ghost type. So you can't fake it out, you can't do anything about it. It's not like Lilycole, where you can like fake out the Torkoal, get a free turn, right? Hisuian Typhlosion is Ghost type. You cannot fake out Hisuian Typhlosion unless you have like a strong Sucker Punch Pokemon or something like that. You're not going to stop it from clicking Eruption. And that's very frustrating sometimes. If you're not running specifically like a Rain team or something like a King Gambit or like something that can like match Tailwinds and just be faster than Hisuian Typhlosion, you kind of just got to eat the Eruption and deal with it. And that really sucks. And that's kind of a trend with a lot of these teams. Is either they're going to get their attack off and there's nothing you can do about it, or the Pokemon is so bulky that you're not going to one-hit KO it and it's going to get its attack off and there's nothing you can do about it. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have much more to say about Hisuian Typhlosion. I think it's fun to use, honestly. Like, I'm really not that mad about it. That's why it's first here. But occasionally I'll roll up into a Hisuian Typhlosion team and they lead it and I'm just like, well, guess I'll just die. Like, goodness. All right. Here's the one. Here's the main one. This is the one that everybody's going to be mad about, okay? This is what you clicked on this video for. It's in the thumbnail. Freaking Archaludon Rain, okay? Oh my god. Archaludon Rain makes me so frustrated. I just want to know what they were thinking when they gave us Archaludon, and then they buffed Pelipper this generation, and then they also gave us Basculegion, and then you know what? Throw Gholdengo on there for good measure. Jesus Christ, is this team composition so annoying to deal with. Let's start with Archaludon, okay? Archaludon is basically a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. There's a lot of debate over this topic. We'll call it a powerhouse Pokemon because it's definitely one of those. It's got 600 base stats. It's got stupid high defense. It's got stupid high special attack. The only stat on this Pokemon that leaves you wanting for more is its special defense, but who cares? Because you can just run an Assault Vest and a bunch of special defense investment. This is a Pokemon that is almost impossible to KO in one hit unless you're running something very specific like Sacred Sword Sharpness Gallade or something, okay? And then on top of that, right, this is a Steel Dragon type. This is one of the best defensive typings in the game. And in fact, the defensive typing is so good that it basically only has two weaknesses that you can exploit, which is ground and fighting. And you know what they do? They see that you lead a ground or fighting type and they just tear a turn one. It doesn't matter. Okay, great. And then on top of all of that, they gave Archaludon this stupid signature move that's literally electric type Meteor Beam that doesn't have a charge turn if you use it in Rain. So Archaludon doesn't need to run any special attack investment. It can just click Electric Shot once or twice and get a special attack boost, and it's like it has full investment. So you click Electric Shot, it goes off in 1 turn, you get a special attack boost, it's a base, it's like 110, 120, and you do this huge damage. So now, this Pokemon has Steel, Dragon, Electric type coverage, which is, there's not one single type that resists all of those. There's probably not a type combination that resists all of those. I do not believe that we have any Pokemon with a type combination that will resist all of those at once, which is very, very silly. Maybe like a Steel Ground type, okay? You run your Steel Ground type and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna resist all of these attacks, right? And then Archaludon has Stamina. And in addition to having Stamina, which gives it a defense boost every single time it takes an attack, mind you, it's impossible to one-hit KO this Pokemon, so it's gonna get some defense boosts, okay? It has Body Press. So now your Steel Ground type that would resist all of Archaludon's attacks is getting bodied by Body Press Archaludon. And now, how do you counter it? You gotta run Sharpness Gallade. I don't want to run Sharpness Gallade on every team. I don't want to run, you know, Scrappy Hisuian Decidueye on every single team. And then they just tear it a fairy and I can't do a damn thing to this Archaludon. Like, oh my goodness. I didn't, look, Archaludon's always been like kind of good, okay? It's been neat. It's been like an underdog. It's been interesting up until now. Its shortcoming of having low special defenses kind of mattered until now. Because Fluttermane and Pokemon like Fluttermane will just absolutely eat an Archaludon alive and live all of its attacks. But now we don't have those Pokemon. Now we don't have things that one-shot Archaludon very easily. And if they remove your special attackers and they set up your Archaludon in front of just physical attackers and a bunch of defense boosts, that's it, you're done. You're done. You better start praying to whatever gods you believe in that you're gonna get a critical hit on that Archaludon, because otherwise it's gonna sit there and just sit there and keep doing damage to your team and keep getting stronger body presses and stronger electro shots until you die. And like, here's the thing that frustrates me, okay? Because you can lower Archaludon's special attack. You can snarl it, you can do whatever you want, right? Every time you snarl it, it gets a defense boost. And at a certain point, it's going to stop trying to click special attacks into you, and it's just going to start body pressing things. Even things that resist this body press at, like, you know, +4, +6, they're going to start taking big damage. And sure, maybe you're a ghost type. I don't know. Maybe I just need to run more ghost types. I don't know. But anything that resists Archaludon is pretty much weak to Pelipper. And this is where the Pelipper comes in, okay? They made Pelipper kind of too good this generation. Pelipper is flying water type. It sets up its own rain with the ability Drizzle. It has Hurricane. It has Weather Ball, which is a really strong attack in the rain. And if you set up Sunny Day with your Whimsicott, it becomes Fire type and hits your Whimsicott for weakness, which is not very nice. And it also gets Wide Guard, which is annoying for anything that like has spread moves that want to hit Archaludon. Like no Earthquakes are going to hit it, no Eruptions, no Heat Waves, anything like that. And it also gets Tailwind. So if you leave the Pelipper alone for a turn, it sets up Tailwind, and now, well, it's faster than you. Like Pelipper's kind of one shortcoming is that it's kind of slow, and Archaludon's like not super fast either. But you can run enough speed on both of them that when that Tailwind goes up, you're in trouble. I don't know a lot of things, but I know that you're in trouble. So anytime somebody leads Archaludon Pelipper into you, it becomes this guessing game where you're like, okay, can I afford to leave Pelipper alone this turn? Can I just taunt it? If I taunt it, will it just Hurricane me? And I'll lose a Pokemon to Hurricane? If I try to attack Archaludon, is it going to Terra? Like, these are a lot of decisions that you have to make relatively quickly. And it gets very, very frustrating when you play Archaludon Rain pretty much every single game on the ladder. Like honestly and truly, probably like 7 or 8 out of every 10 matches that you play are going to be against Archaludon Rain. And you're going to have to make that decision over and over again. And you're not going to get any better at it because each person that you play is going to make a different play. And you're going to be like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Guess I better go chuck Gallade onto my team. But you know what? Gallade dies to Hurricane. So, like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, maybe, you know, we'll find good answers. Maybe Archaludon will die down and we'll, like, figure out what to do. But for right now, it's pretty damn annoying. While we're already talking about Rain, okay, let's talk about Basculegion. Basculegion is also very annoying. And Basculegion can be run on Rain, it can be run out of Rain. I mean, I guess you can also run Archaludon out of Rain. I've definitely seen a lot of Power Herb, Electroshock kind of teams, or teams that just lean really hard on a body press. But Basculegion, on like an Archaludon Rain team specifically, is really annoying because it doesn't share any weaknesses with Pelipper or Archaludon. And that wave crash in the rain hits like an absolute truck because it's usually like choice band. And if you deal with the Archaludon and the Pelipper, right? Basculegion rolls in with its base 150 last respects and just absolutely eats your team alive. Everything that resists last respects is weak to Archaludon's body pressed, mind you. And it's those three Pokemon together just make an absolute like monster of a team. And if you know absolutely nothing about Regulation H and you just like throw some random Archaludon, Pelipper, Basculegion on a team together, you're probably gonna win some games and learn a whole lot about Regulation H. Anybody who's new, just start with Archaludon, Pelipper, Basculegion. Toss 3 other mons on there. You'll be fine. You'll learn the format. You'll figure it out. It'll be okay. I promise. And Basculegion also has this thing where you can run it outside of rain with just like a choice scarf. Because like the speed tiers in this format are low enough that you can get away with it. And you'll clear you'll clear like most of an opponent's team and you'll be like, yeah, I'm doing great. They only got 1 Pokemon left. You see the Basculegion hit the field and you're like, oh no. My whole team goes down to last respects now. Because Basculegion is relatively bulky. It's kind of hard to take down in one hit. I want to say that most of them will live a Grassy Glide from like a Rillaboom or something like that. And your Rillaboom absolutely will not live the base 200, you know, adaptability last respects. We're kind of in a format with a lot of Pokemon that hit really hard and also a lot of Pokemon that eat damage really well. And that's kind of like what makes it frustrating because like all of the Pokemon that I want to run, like they either don't do enough damage or they go down too easily. All right, so now that we're done talking about Archaludon Rain, okay, let's talk about something else that's really annoying. Let's talk about a Pokemon that I really wish I could love, but competitive Pokemon has kept me from loving it. Watch out for that video. It's coming. I'm gonna work on it, make it. Let's talk about Dondozo, okay? Dondozo plus Tatsugiri with Commander has been around forever, okay? It's always been like a nuisance, right? Right now, if you are not running an answer to Dondozo on your team, you kind of just lose. Like, you're not going to face Dondozo all that often, but you hit it and you're like, oh, I built this team. I didn't put any haze or clear smog on it. What am I going to do? What do I do about this Dondozo? Oh, no. And it's been happening to me pretty frequently. Like, maybe, like, you know, I'll get good at team building, loser. But, like, it doesn't make sense to just, like, throw a random Dondozo counter on every team. And if I have to throw a random Dondozo counter on every team, it's going to make that team worse in every other team. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's just better to pray that you don't ever see Dondozo than it is to run a Dondozo counter. Sometimes being lucky enough to not fight Dondozo is the best Dondozo counter. So if you don't know what Dondozo does, okay, it comes in, it has the ability Unaware, which means that it will ignore all of your stat boosts and stat drops. So any stat changes on your side of the field, Dondozo ignores them. And then Tatsugiri comes in, and Tatsugiri's ability Commander gives Dondozo +2 to all of its stats. Dondozo's stats are not crazy, but when you add +2 to all of them, it gets, you know, kind of nuts. And the Tatsugiri also just kind of goes away. So if, like, you're trying to hit a Pokemon and Tatsugiri switches in, well, you just wasted your turn because now you did nothing. You hit nothing. And those attacks just miss Tatsugiri because that's how it's programmed into the game. They don't get redirected into Dondozo or anything. No, Tatsugiri's still on the field. It just literally cannot be hit by attacks. It might as well be in the invulnerable state of like fly or dive or something. And Dondozo just gets really bulky and it sits there and it just like whittles your team down or takes these big hit KOs like it can do, you know what I mean? And, you know, it really shouldn't be that bad. Like, honestly, you should just be running like Haze or Clear Smog or something to deal with this Dondozo. But if you just so happen to build your brand new team and you forget to run Haze, all you're going to face is Dondozo until you change your team, and then you'll never see Dondozo again. And, you know, that's kind of just how the ladder works out, right? As soon as you build a team with a very small weakness to some Pokemon that's, like, just a little bit common, that's the only thing you get to face on the ladder. Happened to me the other day. I made a team with, like, 4 Pokemon that were weak to Dark, and, like, none of them could really hit, like, Dark types. And all I faced for an entire day was Tyranitar teams. Every single team that I faced was Choice Band Tyranitar for like 3 hours. And it was the most annoying thing. Tyranitar is not that bad. Like, it's really just the team that I made was bad into Tyranitar specifically. But, oh my god. So if you make a team and you forget to put a Dondozo counter, you're just going to like hop on the ladder and then face Dondozo for 6 games straight. And it's going to be the worst luck of your life, and you're going to feel awful. I'm getting off on a little bit of a tangent, but Dondozo is annoying. Next up, let's talk about Psyspam, okay? Psyspam is good again because we don't have Ruin Pokemon that are Dark type. We don't have, you know, Miraidon here to, like, just change the terrain. We still have Rillaboom. Rillaboom's here. Rillaboom's cool. We love Rillaboom. Well, I don't know if we love Rillaboom, but Rillaboom's here. It can stop your Psyspam, right? It's a lot harder to take out that Indeedee when you don't have, like, some crazy strong, like, attacker. Indeedee just switches out. That means Armarouge is good again. That means Hatterene is better than it's ever been. Those Gallades that we were talking about, they're on these Psyspam teams. That Psycho Cut hits like a goddamn truck, okay? And Psyspam teams are just kind of annoying because they are going to get that Trick Room up, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. There's not that many really strong spread moves that you can click that will knock out these leads, right? Because, yeah, there's Eruption stuff, okay? But Armarouge is Flash Fire. Armarouge is immune to Eruption. And, yeah, you could run, like, Hyper Voice Ursaluna, but, like, most of the time those Pokemon live that Hyper Voice. And there just really aren't that many, like, super strong spread attacks that you can click to, like, stop the Trick Room from going up if they lead, like, Indeedee Armarouge. So they're going to get the Trick Room up. And then they're going to just start clicking Psyspam. They're just going to start clicking Expanding Force, right? And Helping Hand Terra Psychic Expanding Force will do huge damage to even things that resist it. Like, I've been testing, like, Specs Gardevoir just for, like, because it's funny. And the Terra Psychic Specs Expanding Force from Gardevoir will do, like, 90% to a Gholdengo, which is absolutely insane. But, yeah, I don't know. Psyspam's just annoying in general. It's always been annoying. I kind of like Psyspam. I don't mind it too much, but I mind when I'm playing against it and I don't have anything to deal with it. If you don't have a Dark type or like a Psychic type that resists and can like do something about it, or you don't have a Rillaboom, like honestly, you're just kind of boned. It's that kind of a thing, right? And then you get into like the crazy like Wombo Combo Armarouge weak armor stuff, and usually you see it coming from a mile away. You know, it's like an Aqua Jet Primarina, and you're like, oh, why else would they lead Primarina with Armarouge? Or like, why else would they lead like this very obvious U-turn Pokemon with Armarouge if they weren't going to do this, right? And every once in a while you forget that exists and you just play like they're going to set up Trick Room. Because Annihilate, okay? Scarf Annihilate. We're going to talk about Annihilate more later, but okay? But if they lead Scarf Annihilate Armarouge, there's two things that can happen. Either they U-turn their Armarouge and they get the weak armor boost, and they bring in Indeedee, and they get this crazy Expanding Force off, okay? Or they just click Final Gambit, and they set up Trick Room. and you don't know what they're gonna do if you're playing like close team sheets. If you're playing open team sheets, maybe there's only one option. Maybe you know what they're gonna do, and there's only one option. If you're not playing open team sheets, you have literally no idea what's about to happen. Either they're gonna U-turn, and you're gonna get Expanding Force to the face, or they're gonna Final Gambit, and you're gonna lose a Pokemon, and they're gonna get their Trick Room up. And that's really frustrating sometimes. I think I've talked enough about Psyspam. It just hits really hard. And like Hatterene is immune to taunt, and like, you know, like the Follow Me is really good. Psychic Seed Indeedee is not a Pokemon that you can KO in one hit very easy. It's just kind of really good. Next up, let's talk about Gholdengo. Gholdengo is one of maybe the stupidest Pokemon they've ever made, and I think it's going to be good forever. Even when we don't have Terra anymore, it'll probably be good. But right now, every time you see a Gholdengo, you have to decide if it's Choice Specs or it's Nasty Plot. And if you decide that it's Choice Specs and it's Nasty Plot, you lose. And if you decide that it's Nasty Plot and it's Choice Specs, you lose. Like, that's pretty much the nature of Gholdengo right now. Make It Rain is a stupid attack, a base 120 Steel type spread special move with basically no drawback because like, oh no, my special attack went down one stage. Like, it's not even like Draco Meteor where it goes down 2 stages, right? It's one stage of special attack. Like a Specs Gholdengo that Terra steals is gonna get off like 3 Make It Rains before it cares about its special attack drops, you know? And on top of that, Gholdengo's immune to all status moves. Every single status move that targets Gholdengo, it's immune to it. So like, you can't Spore it, you can't like Eerie Impulse it, you can't like Taunt it to stop it from getting off Nasty Plot, right? It's just gonna do what it wants to do at least once or twice before you can do anything about it. And that's just annoying. That's really all I have to say about Gholdengo. It's like bulky enough that it can live any one attack pretty much, and it has just enough speed where you can run that speed and like also be bulky enough to live any one attack. And you know, you're gonna take a Make It Rain in the face if Gholdengo hits the field, unless like you catch it by surprise pretty much. We kind of already talked about it, but Hard Trick Room is annoying. There are so many Trick Room Pokemon that are good right now. We got both Ursaludos, which are absolute crazy bundles of stats that work in Trick Room. Ursaluna Blood Moon even can work on Tailwind too, so it's kind of hard to like pin it down. Hatterene is really good. Torkoal is really good. Armor Rouge is really good. We kind of talked about all of it. It's just really hard to stop Trick Room from going up unless you're going to KO things or they don't click follow me and you get like a taunt up or something. Just like a small aside, you know, I mean, Final Gambit and Annihilate, like I said, we'll talk about Annihilate in a second, but Final Gambit and Annihilate makes it just really annoying because, like, if you don't have something that can do something about Final Gambit and Annihilate, either you're going to let them get Trick Room up for free and you're going to, like, double protect or something, or they're just going to, like, switch out and not even click Final Gambit, or I don't know. It's just one of those things where every time you see it, you have to make a decision, and if you make the wrong decision, you kind of just are screwed. They can just get it up, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Let's talk about MouseApe. Annihilate is actually like a really strong Pokemon, and yeah, you can do a lot of damage to it, but Annihilate is strong enough that you're never really gonna KO it in one hit. And it's gonna hit the field, and it's gonna get off at least one Rage Fist or Drain Punch or something and take a KO that you really didn't want it to take. And then you stick it next to Mousehold, who has Friend Guard, and now Population Bomb is a good move. So like sometimes you can even see like fake MouseApe, right, where it's just like Terra Normal Population Bomb, and it's like Scarf Ape with coaching or something, which is annoying. I haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely something that could happen, and the first time I see it and I expect regular MouseApe, I will be angry. But yeah, so basically, every time you see MouseApe, you have to make a decision. Oh, gee, I'm sensing a pattern here. Either they're gonna like beat up, and they're gonna get all set up and like Rage Fist the crap out of you, or they're just gonna click Follow Me and bulk up, or maybe the Annihilate clicks bulk up and they just Population Bomb and like delete one of your Pokemon for free because you decided that MouseApe wasn't going to be a problem this turn. Or, I'm sorry, you decided that Mousehold wasn't going to be a problem this turn. I don't know, it's just an annoying thing to play against. A lot of the times what I want to put in front of Annihilate is a Pokemon with like defense boosting and body press. But I don't actually have a move that can hit Annihilate very effectively. So I'm setting up in front of them, and they're setting up in front of me, and I can't hit them, but Rage Fist is just getting stronger every turn, so eventually it's going to be able to knock me out. Maybe it's just that team specifically. It's a team I'm working on. I'm not going to spoil it because it's a really fun team, and I want to wait for the right time to introduce it. But, yeah, I don't know. MouseApe in general is just kind of annoying. There isn't a whole lot that you can do unless you have really powerful spread moves, which I've, you know, again, there's not that many, and the Friend Guard is still going to work on the Annihilate, but it's probably going to get off the Rage Fist. And they don't even need to get beat up off. If the Annihilate just lives like 2 attacks, that Rage Fist is KOing things. Like, there's not a whole lot you can do about it unless you're normal type. But if you're normal type, then you have to take the Drain Punch. You see what I'm getting at? It's just really annoying. And here's probably the crux of the issue, okay? All of these things that we've talked about, more or less, are like 2 Pokemon modes, right? Typhlosion Sun, you just need a Whimsicott and a Typhlosion. Archaludon Rain, literally just a Pelipper and an Archaludon. Dondozo is just a Dondozo and a Tatsugiri. Psyspam, just Indeedee and a Pokemon with Expanding Force, usually it's Armor Rouge. Gholdengo is 1 Pokemon. Usually it just needs Tailwind, and a lot of teams want Tailwind anyway. Hard Trick Room could literally just be like an Ursaluna and a Pokemon that knows Trick Room. MouseApe, right there, it's in the name. Mousehold and Island, okay? So all of these are like 2 Pokemon modes, which means that any given team that you run into can have 3 of these. And yeah, you might have counters for each one, but are you going to bring the right counters? Are you going to guess what mode they're going to go correctly? A lot of the time you're not. I mean, let's just be honest. And that, I think, is the thing that like makes Reg H the most frustrating, is that every team core, more or less, is just 2 Pokemon. So every single team that you face has a really good chance of having like 3 different modes on it, or at least 2. And if you guess wrong, well, then you're SOL. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Maybe this rant was silly. Maybe you don't agree. Maybe you think Reg H is the most amazing format ever. I think it's a good format. I don't know if it's my favorite format I've ever played, but I've enjoyed some of the games that I've played, some of the teams that I've been able to make. I've definitely had a hard time using some Pokemon that I thought I was for sure going to be able to use. Rest in peace, the Minior team that I was going to make. Rest in peace, you know, Cloth is kind of sad. It doesn't KO anything still. It's definitely a lower power format than the format we're coming out of, Regulation G, but it's not so low that you can get away with running whatever you want. And I think for me, that's the biggest disappointment, is I was ready to just play some unhinged, off-the-wall shit. And, you know, sometimes it's not the best format for running the most off-the-wall, unhinged shit. And that is kind of the crux of why I'm angry about Regulation H. There's so many different things running around that you can't have counters for everything. And sometimes I prefer that, and sometimes it's just annoying. And since each team can have like 2 or 3 of these things that you have to prepare for, it makes it a lot harder to actually play and team build for. Like, yeah, you can build a really solid team, and then you're just going to hit Archaludon Rain 3 times in a row, and if maybe your Archaludon Rain matchup isn't that great, well, then you're just going to lose. Or, you know, it can be MouseApe, or swap it in for Dondozo, or you know, Spam, or whatever. There are too many archetypes you have counters for that, you know, I assume that after the first couple of regionals, some sort of balanced team is going to come around that kind of has the tools to deal with whatever without really minding. And then we're going to be annoyed that that balanced team exists, because it's going to be really annoying to play against. It's going to be the only thing that we're going to play against. But that's it for this rant. I think if you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave me a big fat like. Make sure you go down to the comments. Tell me about what in Reg H makes you angry. And subscribe. I do angry rants like this all the time. Probably more often than is healthy for me. With that, everybody, my name is Andrew. I'll catch you guys next time. Once upon a time, man, I heard that I was struggling. Came from a gen where power creep wasn't coming in. Face long, stats tight, defense up, shack height. Sturdy on me, sash like, got that TM last night. Hit me with that good move, make this mount act right. Bast boys, bout to hit that builder. I know that's right. Big Bast busting out these body presses, bout to buy a body bag and